Yo, what up? What's poppin'? Back at it again with another video for y'all. Just wanna chat with y'all, and I wanna give my take on a sport. Now, like I said, I don't really be watching sports like I used to. Football, I still be watching like football like every now and then. I had looked at some of the game between the Panthers and the Browns, and also had looked at, well, pretty much, I pretty much like had looked at most of the game between the Buccaneers and the Cowboys, but other than that, most of the time, I don't really watch, I don't really like watch sports like I used to. I used to look at just any basketball and I used to look at just any football. I mainly only pay attention if it's my favorite team playing. But the sport that I'm gonna talk with y'all about today is boxing and the big fight that's about to go down. Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva. I just wanted to give my take on this. My take on Jake Paul fighting Anderson Silva. Jake Paul, as of lately, the fights that he's been in when it comes down to mixed martial artists, Jake Paul, he's been killing it. He knocked out Ben Askren. He knocked out Tyron Woodley, and now he's going up against Anderson Silva. Now, Anderson Silva, when it comes down to mixed martial arts, Anderson Silva is like one of the greatest. Anderson Silva, he's one of the greatest fighters in the world when it comes down to mixed martial arts, along with other mixed martial artists like John Jones, along with other mixed martial artists like Israel Adesanya. But yeah, other than that, Anderson Silva, he's one of the greatest fighters in the world. But as of right now, yeah, I don't even think Anderson Silva is even doing mixed martial arts anymore. I think he has had. I think now he's just pretty much doing boxing, because I think he had like a boxing match against Tito Ortiz, and he ended up winning the boxing match against Tito Ortiz. But yeah, now, like, he's going up against Jake Paul. Now, my take on Jake Paul fighting Anderson Silva, I feel that this is a fight that has potential to be a pretty, like, dope fight, or it could end up in a knockout. Like I said, as of lately, Jake Paul, he's been killing it. He's been killing it, when it comes down to the fights that he's been in with mixed martial artists. He knocked out Tyron Woodley and he knocked out Ben Askren, and now he's going up against Anderson Silva. But I feel that this is, do I feel that this is a fight that has potential to be a classic? It's a possibility. And it's also like a possibility that this is a fight that could end up in a knockout. But yeah, and see, when Anderson Silva, when he was doing mixed martial arts, like Anderson Silva, his first lost in the UFC was when he had fought Chris Weidman. Like, Chris Weidman ended up knocking Anderson Silva out, and then they ended up having a rematch, and Anderson Silva actually ended up injuring his leg. So Chris Weidman, he pretty much like retained the UFC middleweight title against Anderson Silva twice, because when they had a rematch, Anderson Silva ended up breaking his leg. But yeah, other than that, and that's the thing about it, like, Anderson Silva, he's in his 40s now. Like, after he got beat by Chris Weidman, now, yeah, because Anderson Silva, he also fought Israel Adesanya, and he lost to Israel Adesanya. And Anderson Silva also fought Daniel Cormier, and he lost to Daniel Cormier. See, when it comes down to professional fighting, it doesn't really make a difference if it's boxing, kickboxing, mixed martial arts. Usually, when a fighter gets in their 40s, that's usually when, things start to change. And I remember in a press conference interview that Anderson Silva did, in the mixed martial arts fight that he had, that he actually ended up winning. He said that he started to realize that he's old, like he in his 40s now. He's starting to get older, but if you ask me, Anderson Silva is still one of the greatest fighters ever, along with John Jones and along with Israel Adesanya. Like, those three are like the greatest ever. And just like in boxing with Floyd Mayweather, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, those guys are like the greatest ever. But yeah, I mean, Jake Paul, I mean, no disrespect to Jake Paul, but I don't feel like he's at that status. I don't feel that he's at that level of greatest ever. I mean, at the end of the day, and the reality of it all, he came from YouTube. He was mainly a YouTuber. And that's the thing about it. Kimbo Slice, God rest his soul, RIP. With Kimbo Slice, a lot of Kimbo Slice fights was on YouTube. But you see, I don't think like Kimbo Slice did like any like vlogs on YouTube. He mainly got recognition on YouTube for like his fights. See, with Jake Paul was mainly like a vlogger. Now, I honestly do feel, I mean, if Kimbo Slice was still alive now, if Jake Paul was to fight Kimbo Slice, now that right there, I do feel Kimbo Slice could give Jake Paul a lot of trouble. Now, Kimbo Slice, he tried mixed martial arts, but he wasn't really like all that successful in mixed martial arts because, when it comes down to mixed martial arts, you gotta learn the basics. You gotta learn the craft. He tried to like make street fighting work as a mixed martial artist, and that's the thing about it. He said that there was a lot that he needed to learn. Like, when it comes down to wanting to try something different, you gotta learn the basics. Like being a street fighter, being a brawler, if you don't learn the craft of MMA, if you don't learn the basics of mixed martial arts, you're not gonna last long. You're not gonna be very successful. You gotta learn the craft. You gotta learn the basics. But RIP to Kimbo Slice, God rest his soul. But yeah, Jake Paul fighting Anderson Silva. I do feel that Anderson Silva could give Jake Paul some trouble, and I do feel that Jake Paul can give Anderson Silva some trouble. Now, do I feel in this boxing match, do I feel Anderson Silva is gonna like destroy Jake Paul? I mean, in my opinion, I don't think so. And neither do I feel that Jake Paul is gonna destroy Anderson Silva. This is a fight that could go either way. Jake Paul, he's been killing it getting into these boxing matches with these mixed martial arts guys. But yeah, that's my take on Jake Paul fighting Anderson Silva. Let's have a discussion about this. Chat with me, engage with me, my fellow fighting fans, my fellow fans of the UFC boxing. Let's have a discussion. Chat with me, engage with me. How do you feel about Jake Paul fighting Anderson Silva? Who do you feel is gonna win? Do you feel one of them is gonna destroy the other, or do you feel that it's a fight that can be very close? Let's have a discussion. Chat with me, engage with me. Don't forget, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell on my channel, comment, share, like the video. Love y'all.